I'm so excited here speaking with Don Woodward, our recent one of our recent client success stories, and we're going to just walk through his experience with us. What was happening that led him to us, and then just how everything transpired. So thank you so much, Don, for saying yes and agreeing to do this. Makes me super excited. I'm glad to hear the new job's going well. I just want to jump right into it. So, what was going on when that led you to discover us? What was going on in
Yeah.
your life at the time?
Um, yeah. So my job search started around mid-October of last year.
That was
I
okay.
had been working for a really large IT company for about 18 years, and I found myself looking for a new job. Um, I ran into an old acquaintance, guy named Steve, who we started talking. We had always talked about he was in the HR recruiting field, and he told me that the best thing I could do was to get in touch with this woman, Lisa Rangel. So that's what I did. I reached out to you, Lisa. I had no idea who you were or what you did, but I knew you were involved in helping folks out with the job market and improving their resumes. So that's kind of where everything got started.
Did
Um,
you just refresh my memory, did you do some of the search on your own
yes.
and
Yeah.
then realize like you needed some help? Like tell me a little bit about
Yes.
that. Because I know
Yeah.
you hired us in December
Yeah.
2024,
So
right?
so we met kind of, that was a Christmas party. And
Right.
then we met after that. So yeah, I had been looking through October, November, and December kind of on my own,
Okay.
just sort of out there on my own.
What were you doing and what was happening?
Well, uh, I kind of fumbled together my resume
Hmm.
based on advice from various people, and pretty much all of my searching had been all LinkedIn based. I probably applied for about 100 positions over
Mm.
those 3 months.
Okay.
Through LinkedIn using my own system.
Right, right.
Um, and I'd gotten a few bites, a few small bites, but really nothing, substantial, I guess,
Okay.
at that point.
All right. And then you know, when you hired us in December 2024, what were you hoping, what intrigued you the most about us that led you, because like you said, you didn't know anything about what we did. You probably didn't even know there was people who did what I did. You know,
Yeah.
like what were
I,
you hoping to
uh,
change or what was the thing that intrigued you the most?
I think what I really felt like I really needed was having, instead of just being kind of on my own,
Hmm.
actually having a team of people
Mm.
behind me, helping me with the whole process.
Okay.
So, I think I kind of realized, Lisa, that your company is more than just, rewriting your resume.
Right.
And I knew that, during these 3 months where I was looking, I really didn't have anyone uh, uh, to circle back with and discuss and give feedback over the whole process.
Hmm.
So that was really appealing to me, is just having, it's really important when you are looking for work to not be by yourself, to
I
have like a
agree.
team or have people behind you that back you up, that encourage you, that support you, and that kind of take you through the whole process as you're going through it. So
Was there
that was interesting to me, and that's, I think, what made me decide to hire your company.
okay? No, I love that. I'm glad. And did you feel, I mean, that instinct that you had that caused you to make the decision to move forward, like how did that unfold for you? How did the team support you after that happened? Like what was the most
Um,
impactful or what
yeah,
was, I'm throwing a bunch of questions at once, but
no,
we'll
that's
do them
fine.
one at a time.
I mean, it started out with you would just initially, I think you did like the first scan of my resume and had a few pointers and things that you brought up. But then I think I initially worked with Beth,
Hmm.
uh, and I had a couple of initial consults with Beth. And you guys just kind of jumped right in with me right where I was at that point.
Hmm.
So I already had a couple of uh, potential prospects,
Yeah.
um, and worked with I think Beth and probably John the most
Yeah.
initially,
Hmm.
if that makes sense.
Yep. And Alan wrote your document. Yeah, Alan,
So
Alan wrote your document, and you had Beth and John on some coaching fronts.
yes, yeah. So, you know, the resume process was really positive. I gave Alan all of my materials, and then we kind of worked together. We collaborated on that
Hmm.
resume together, to get it to where we both felt it was agreeable,
Yeah.
and then updated it and sent it out at that point.
Okay.
Um, uh, so that was key. And then at the end, towards the end, I worked with John
Yep.
Potterham,
Hmm.
when I actually got my first couple phone screens. John helped me with researching who would be interviewing me,
Hmm.
and then going through a mock interview with him prior to the actual interview. And then after the interview, having a follow-up interview, a follow-up conversation with John about how the interview went, and potential next steps. So for me, it was just really good to have someone in the preparation phase, the actual interview, and then a follow-up as well, just to
Right.
have someone kind of behind you, as opposed to when you're all by yourself, you have that interview and you don't even necessarily have any kind of measurement as to how well it went, and then you don't really have anyone to follow up with about it either.
Yeah.
You're just kind of by yourself. So to me, that was probably the most valuable thing, was having your team members to fall back on and to talk to during the whole process.
Well, and that means a lot. And I think you did a lot of things right. Like I remember going through some of the notes with John and with Beth, and you were performing well. I mean, on the interviews, but I think when you tell someone what you did and they tell you, yeah, that sounds good, there's
Mhm.
like that validation is important, I feel like,
Yes.
especially in job searching, because even if you're doing everything right, but you don't necessarily know it, or that
Mhm.
inner voice inside of you is telling you, I don't know if they did that right, like it can
Right.
really start to take hold and go down a rabbit hole, even though you did
Yeah.
everything right.
Yeah.
Um,
That's actually a good point, is because in, one or two of the phones, I had one phone screen that I thought went really well. Like I felt like I knocked it out of the park.
mhm,
But I didn't hear back from that recruiter.
okay,
And a lot of folks go through that. It was really frustrating. But with your team, I could kind of express that and vent a little bit. And your team was kind of like, that happens. You just have to roll with it.
right.
Put that aside. Don't let it frustrate you. And keep moving on. A
No,
coach in
handling
your corner,
rejection. Yeah,
helping you through
handling a
the whole process.
rejection is
And
important.
yes, yeah. Yeah, you need to, handle it maturely, realize that it's tough out there, it's difficult, you're not always going to get
Right.
the feedback that you're looking for, and you just have to keep moving forward, you know.
What did
So
you, I mean, you had mentioned that you were doing the search on your own before and you were, applying to 100 jobs, maybe got a couple hits, but like when your documents were done and you were doing more of the outreach and the networking and probably some job postings here and there, like how did the results change for you?
I became more confident. Did start to get more phone screens.
Okay,
Um, some of the networking that Beth coached me on resulted in me getting a second round interview
great.
just through her. Literally, just a matter of Beth saying, "Hey, go out and figure out who the CIO is of this company."
Right.
And once you determine that, I did that, and I realized that this was a person that lived in the same town that I lived
I
in,
remember that
and it's
story.
someone
Yeah.
that my friends knew. And this resulted in, it sounds trivial, but it resulted in a connection that resulted in another interview for me. So, you never know where those things are unless you really proactively seek them out. And I don't think
Yeah.
that's something I normally would have done.
You wouldn't have
So
normally done that
I
without,
don't think so. No,
yeah.
I think I would have been a little more reluctant, a little less. I don't want to use the term aggressive, but
It's just proactive. It's really just being proactive.
proactive.
Like
Yeah.
there's, I mean this in a good way. There's not an aggressive bone like in your body, like in a good way, like, but
Hmm.
there's being assertive and there's being proactive. And I really try to, I want us all to instill that in clients because if we don't advocate for ourselves, who is?
Yeah, I mean, in this job that I have now, the company I have now, one of the first things I did was, through LinkedIn, I literally reached out to the CEO of the U.S. based operation,
Hmm.
just sent him a quick email. He didn't respond,
That's okay.
and I did the same thing to. I figured out who the recruiter was, a woman based in Colombia.
Hmm.
I reached out to her directly as well, and those aren't things that I think I normally would do. Normally, I would just submit the resume and just kind of wait.
Right, right.
Um, I was coached by Beth that you need to sell yourself. You need to be positive about yourself. And especially this particular job, which I felt like I was a really good fit for,
Yeah.
it makes sense to be a little bit, maybe a little more confident than normal.
Yeah.
These are just, I think, ways that you stand out.
I
Um,
mean, and they're small, right? I mean, they're big, but they're small, right? They're doable, even if they're mentally sometimes a big hurdle. They're very doable.
Yeah, I mean, those were just quick notes that I sent.
Yeah.
But I ended up getting an initial phone screen, and it took me like 5 interviews to finally talk to the CEO, but I got there eventually.
Good.
So
No,
yeah,
that's perfect. Yeah, I mean, the process is still a little long, but even 5 isn't so bad nowadays. It could be even longer, but that's still not short.
yeah.
What I think you may have alluded this to a little bit, but just to be specific, like what part of the process really impressed you or surprised you the most? Like what's something that you didn't expect to get out of this whole process, despite the great conversation we had that led you to buy.
Yeah, yeah. Um, well, I guess I wasn't expecting, Lisa, that I was going to be working with 4 other people other than yourself.
Hmm.
I didn't realize that you had a staff of people with each with their own area of expertise.
Hmm.
That kind of that I wasn't expecting that, and that was surprising to me.
Okay.
I know that you may not realize this, but you are really the face of your company out there, and you're out there on LinkedIn a lot. I think you're posting every day, but people need to know that you have a great team behind you.
Okay.
You have at least the 4. I think I worked with at least 4 folks from your company,
Yeah,
but you have great staff, and these are people that really care about your job search. They want you to be successful.
I
And
really
they,
appreciate you saying that.
yeah,
I appreciate the feedback because I will definitely make that clearer going forward. But as humbly as I can say, it's not lost on me that I do okay sometimes on the pre-engagement call. And
yeah,
but I know that if my team did not come out equally, or if not even many cases better than me, that
yeah,
you'd be right back here going, "What'd you sell me, lady?"
mhm,
So
yeah,
they're
yeah,
really incredible, and I'm very blessed. And they've been with me like 6 to 15 years. So
yeah, yeah,
it's nice to hear you say that. I'm glad you felt
yeah.
that way. Um, towards the end, like, how did the coaching help you with like assembling your compensation? Like, were there parts that you were able to ask for that you wouldn't have normally asked for, or what other ways that we help you towards the end there and getting everything solidified?
Yeah, so towards the end of for this particular job, towards the end, like my last interview or two, actually at the very, very end, Beth gave me really good guidance on comp because
Hmm.
I wasn't sure. This job had no indication in the job description what the comp actually was.
Hmm. Yeah.
Uh, as I got into the third or fourth interview, I knew that the comp discussion was going to come up, and
Right.
I had a good discussion with Beth prior to that, where we determined that she told me the best advice is to ask for or to state a range.
Hmm.
And we had worked out in advance what that salary range should be. So when the comp question came up, that's what I provided them. A range of numbers that I was comfortable with.
Right.
And they came back with a really good offer. Um, and then I worked with Beth and I even negotiated that a little bit.
That's awesome.
Um, in my discussions with Beth, it was sort of like, well, it's clear that they want to hire you. You should, be careful with that. And, we just, it worked out for the best. I was able
That's
to get
awesome.
a really strong offer as a result of that.
That's fantastic. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. So if you see someone, stuck, like what advice would you have like for them? Like what helped you get unstuck, prior to you seeing Steve?
Yeah. Um, I would say, again, having people who are behind you, having a coach, having someone that has your back is probably the most important thing.
Hmm.
And that shouldn't necessarily be your spouse or your best friend, because those folks may not necessarily be able to give you the best advice,
Right.
even though it certainly is valuable advice. But I got some kind of bad advice from different friends and colleagues about things, and it wasn't until I kind of started working with your team that things started to make more sense.
When you
Uh,
say bad advice, because obviously their intentions are good, like,
mhm.
do you have an example of like what was bad for you?
I had, for example, I didn't have date ranges in some of
I remember
my
that, yeah.
resume. That was a big mistake.
And that was to avoid ageism, right?
To avoid ageism, but there's a way to include dates on your resume in a strategic way.
Hmm.
So when we redid my resume, we did it. Uh, I was able to get that information in there in a more effective way.
Right.
Whereas before, I think my resume was clearly hiding. It was obvious to whoever got it that I was hiding something, and you
And
don't want to be like that.
yeah, I mean they figured that out, right? And then I know when I recruited and I saw someone either a functional resume format or leaving dates off where they should be normally, all it does is bring attention to the thing you're trying to hide because now you're like, oh,
Right.
well, what are they trying to hide?
Right.
So
Right.
it's better to
Yeah.
be bold about it and but lead with the achievements. I mean, you had so much good work that you did that wasn't really being cited. And then and achievements are ageless. So that's really the mindset behind that.
Mm-hmm.
What was there a part that was particularly hard for you? I mean, I know you mentioned a few times that you did things you wouldn't normally do, but you
Mm-hmm.
actually sounded pretty, smooth about it in terms of executing it. You just needed to learn it. I don't know if that was the case, but is there any part of it that was particularly hard for you that you didn't expect or that you were anticipating and it was, or anything like that?
Um, if you're going to hire Chameleon, I would say you have to be prepared to do some work,
I'm
right?
glad
It's
you
not
said
just like,
that.
no, I mean, when I engaged with your team, there was a fair amount of work that I had to do, documents that I had to get to you guys, information that I had to get to you guys
Mhm.
so that you could do your jobs. So it's not just, you're not just going to have someone come on board and, kind of take over. It doesn't work that way. So I'd say to anyone looking to work with your group, Lisa, they have to know that there is some work that you as a candidate have to do
Yeah.
to get yourself to the point where um, you know you can put yourself out into the job market and expect to hopefully
It's
get bites,
definitely
get
good
hits.
to give that warning for sure. And my last
Yeah.
question is, you said something earlier about how, you even in the job you started reaching out to people that you may not have normally have done that. Like
Mhm.
do you feel that there's either skills or even the branding that you will now continue to use even after this job landing experience?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Like one of the things I'm doing now in my new job is business development.
Mm,
So this company I work for is based out of France. The US is a new market for them.
Okay,
So a lot of the skills, a lot of the stuff that I was doing, looking for a job, a lot of that, networking and connecting with other companies are skills that I can carry forward
that's
here.
great.
Um, so, um, yeah, so a lot of that's worked to my advantage, I think.
All right, great. I do believe this is a skill set that you just use, for the rest of the time you work, like
Yes.
hope, and then, and even just having conversations, here and there every during a week, just to, I believe, my shtick is the job security only lies within our ability to find the next thing quickly.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
having,
yeah, it's just really important to keep and maintain your contacts in your field, you know. I mean, I had, one of the jobs that I didn't get prior to this one. I didn't get that job, but I picked up two really good contacts in IT.
that's great.
A CIO and an IT director who we just had a great conversation, and now we're colleagues now, and we're in touch with each other. So all that, those are all things that you want to maintain in your career.
That's great.
Um,
No, I agree. Any other parting words or anything I didn't ask that I should have, or
no, I would just say, to me, it was really a really smart investment that I made. You have to think of yourself as investing in yourself. It's really important to have, when you're talking about your career, um, it's really important to have folks behind you that will support you. You know, not just, technically an advisory role, but emotionally too. Like I really think
yeah.
you guys care about
Well,
you,
well, thank
uh,
you.
about your candidates. And I felt that from Chameleon, so I
Well, thank
appreciate
you.
that.
I appreciate you saying that. Thank you so, so much. Um,